Hey everybody, welcome to Idioms episode 27. I'm your host David Dyer, and Idioms is my mini-cast, 5 minutes at the most, about the same time it takes for you to remember your old landline phone number. And as the name implies, I talk about idioms, those phrases we say in everyday conversation that seem completely out of place, yet you know exactly what they mean by the way they're being used. Good, so let's go. This is Idioms episode 27, and the idiom we're going to cover today is raining cats and dogs. You've heard it. So I call Beyonce and I'm like, hey, you want to play a little frisbee golf? And she's like, not in this weather. And I'm like, what? It's sprinkling. And she's like, it's raining cats and dogs, you dope. Lose my number. Whatever. Literal meaning, to have a sky full of felines and canines drop down to the earth to the point where you need to seek refuge. Contextual meaning, a heavy downpour. Kind of the same way Claire Danes cries in every episode of Homeland. So let's explore the origin. Well, phrases.org.uk says the first evidence of the phrase or a similar phrase comes from Jonathan Swift's 1710 poem called A Description of a City Shower, which reads, sweeping from butcher's stalls, dung, guts, and blood, drowned puppies, stinking sprats, all drenched in mud, dead caps and turnip tops come tumbling down the flood. Uplifting, Jonathan. Thank you. They also say Swift later used the phrase in 1738 in his book, A Complete Collection of Polite and Ingenious Conversation, which read, I know Sir John will go, though he was sure it would rain cats and dogs. Well, worldwidewords.org gives us the most bang for our buck on this one because they lay out 5 possible origins. A long time ago, a lot of houses had thatched roofs, and when storms would roll through, some domestic and feral dogs and cats would climb up onto the roof to stay warm and hide from the rumble of the thunder. And if it was raining hard enough, some of the dogs and cats would get washed out of the thatched roof, thus raining cats and dogs. Still, some say it's a derivation of a similar sounding Greek phrase that means unlikely occurrence. Or that it's a deformed version of the rare French word caradoupe, which means waterfall. Why is it rare? Are waterfalls rare in France? It's also been suggested that at one time the streets of some British towns were so poorly constructed with badly designed drainage systems that every time it rained hard, the streets would flood and any number of the drowned stray cats and dogs could be seen floating down the deluge. And they say Bangkok smells bad. One of the more favored theories is that it comes from Norse mythology and the storm god Odin, who was often accompanied by cats and dogs. Maybe because his daughters moved home after college like mine did, bringing their pets along with them. It was once thought that cats had influence over storms and that dogs were the symbols of storms, which goes to prove that the pot the Norse gods were smoking back then was even more powerful than the pot people are smoking now. Allegedly. This was a particularly common theory amongst the Norse sailors who felt that when an exceptionally strong storm rolled through, it was caused by cats bringing the rain and winds created by the dogs. How cute. They don't seem quite so scary now, do they? And here I thought this was just a funny little saying. Something Dr. Seuss would have come up with. Raining cats and dogs. A few words to make an innocent child giggle, prompting them to look up to the heavens and see Fluffy and Champ free-falling towards the ground, only to have them meet their demise upon impact right in front of them. Boy, that ended dark. What am I, British? So that's it. Episode 27 of Idioms is complete, and to be honest, my brown lawn could use a few tabbies and some dachshunds. I'm your host, David Dyer. Thanks for listening. Check back for new episodes every Tuesday and Friday, but until then, I'll catch you on the flip side.